An incident on June 24, 1967 was intended to demonstrate how brutally harsh nature can be sometimes. An incident where 6 men never saw their loved ones again. Mossdale was to be their final resting place and the site where they would pass away together. The coroner decided the cave should be sealed, but the 6 are still buried inside the pothole. Friends relocated their bodies to be together at a place called Sanctuary 3 years later. This was a disaster that broke many hearts and shook many souls. Stay tuned till the end to know everything about the unfortunate incident. With that said, let's start today's video. It was a day that would go down in history for these 6 brave souls as they set out on an adventure that would test their mettle in ways they never imagined. With their eyes fixed firmly on the prize, they made their way toward the mouth of Mossdale Caverns, eager to explore its dark, mysterious depths. As they donned their gear and prepared for the descent, a palpable sense of excitement hung in the air. These were no ordinary thrill-seekers. They were seasoned professionals who had spent countless hours honing their skills in the world of cave diving. They knew the risks, but the lure of the unknown was too strong to resist. As they made their way deeper into the cavern, the darkness engulfed them, and the only sound was the gentle drip of water echoing off the walls. The air was thick with anticipation as they pushed deeper and deeper, their headlamps piercing the darkness like beacons of hope. The going was tough, and at times it seemed as though the cave would never end, but these were no quitters, and they pushed on, driven by a passion for exploration that burned deep within their souls. And then, finally, they saw it. At the farthest reaches of the pothole, it was a moment of pure exhilaration, a triumph over the elements and the unknown. They'd done it. They'd done it together. As they made their way back to the surface, tired but elated, they knew that they had accomplished something truly special. This was no ordinary Saturday, and they were no ordinary men, as we mentioned earlier. They were adventurers, explorers, and above all, friends, and they had just embarked on a journey that they would never forget. Let's now see the details of the cave, which made the men immortal. Mossdale Cave is a limestone cave located in North Yorkshire, England. It was discovered in 1941 by a group of local cavers, and over the years it has become known as one of the most challenging and dangerous caves in the United Kingdom. The cave is approximately 12 kilometres long and is formed by a series of underground rivers, waterfalls, and narrow passages. The geological structure of the cave comprises 3 main rock formations: the Great Scar Limestone, the Yoredale Group, and the Millstone Grit. The Great Scar Limestone is the uppermost layer and is composed of pure limestone. The Yoredale Group is a series of embedded layers of limestone, sandstone, and shale. The Millstone Grit is the lowest layer and is made up of sandstone. The cave is known for its challenging and dangerous passages, which include the Whirlpool Chamber and the Sump 1. The Whirlpool Chamber is a section of the cave that contains a large underground lake, which is prone to sudden and violent whirlpools. The Sump 1 is a flooded section of the cave that requires diving equipment to navigate. Both of these sections have claimed the lives of several cavers over the years. The cave also contains several notable features, such as the Viking's Grave, a burial site that is believed to date back to the Viking era. The grave is located in a small chamber and contains the remains of a Viking warrior, along with his sword and other artifacts. Mossdale Cave has played an important role in the development of cave exploration techniques and equipment. In the early years of its exploration, cavers used simple rope ladders and torches to navigate the cave. However, as the cave's challenges became more apparent, cavers began to develop new techniques and equipment to safely explore the cave. This included the development of specialized diving equipment and the use of advanced rope techniques such as the single rope technique, which allows cavers to safely navigate vertical passages. Despite its challenges and dangers, Mossdale Cave continues to attract people around the world. It remains an important site for the study of cave geology, as well as for the development of new technologies and equipment for cave exploration. However, due to its dangerous nature, it is only recommended for experienced and well-equipped cavers who have the necessary skills and training to safely navigate its passages. Now, back to the unfortunate incident again. On the afternoon of Saturday, June 24th, 1967, a 10-person strong team of cavers under the direction of Dave Adamson entered Mossdale Caverns with the goal of blasting and excavating at Mud Cavern's southern end. The remaining 6 entered the cave as the weather outside deteriorated and Mossdale Beck turned into a raging torrent, completely flooding the entrance series and much of the cave, with tragic results. Later that day, 4 members of the team successfully emerged from the cave after a shorter trip. This was the time when 6 daring young men sought to push the limits of human exploration and bravery by venturing deep into the mysterious and treacherous depths of Mossdale Caverns. With every step, they plunged further into the unknown, leaving behind the safety and comfort of the world above for the thrill of discovery and the excitement of the unknown. It will be difficult to forget the passing of Bill Frakes, Colin Vickers, David Adamson, Jeff Boireau, Michael Ryan, and John Ogden. It shouldn't come as a surprise that many people attending this weekend were friends of those who died, fellow cavers and rescuers several years ago when you consider the ages of those who perished. The Upper Wharfdale Fell Rescue Association was contacted on Saturday at 23:10 to start the rescue efforts, which lasted 4 days. There were a ton of people involved. John Conway graciously consented to allow us to publish his first-person account of his participation in the rescue for the first time, which will hopefully help readers understand the challenges and hazards involved, as well as how much has changed in the following years. Over 6 hours later, 5 remains were discovered, but the cave had to be evacuated since the weather was getting worse. The weather remained bad and it wasn't possible to resume until Tuesday at 1 p.m. John Ogden's body was discovered in a tiny corridor 14 hours later. As they delved deeper into the labyrinthine passages of the cavern, they faced one daunting challenge after another, each more formidable than the last. The drown or glory swims were just the beginning, a baptism by water that tested their endurance and strength, but they refused to be deterred, pressing on through the twisting rough and knee-wracker passages, their torches casting eerie shadows on the jagged rocks and hidden crevices. And then, at long last, they came face to face with their greatest challenge yet, the marathon crawl. This narrow and winding tunnel, barely wide enough to accommodate their slender frames, sneaked its way through the very heart of the cavern, its icy waters and jagged walls threatening to crush them at every turn. But they were undaunted, determined to reach the other side and claim victory over the unforgiving terrain. With grit and determination, they wriggled and squirmed their way through the tunnel, feeling the weight of the earth pressing down upon them, the darkness and silence closing in around them. But they never faltered, never lost faith in their own abilities or the strength of their comrades. For they knew that together they were unstoppable, capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. And so they emerged from the other side of the marathon crawl, triumphant and exhilarated, having conquered the unforgiving depths of Mossdale Caverns and proven themselves worthy of the challenge. For in that moment, they knew that nothing could ever stand in their way. They were truly invincible, and that the world was theirs for the taking. They're moving towards the far end of the cave, where they hope to discover new channels. Hours after leaving the entrance, the notorious Far Marathon is up next. The spirits of the still are high. They're moving along quickly. They have at least visited this location before. They chuckle and make fun of one another. The signs are favourable for making a finding. And one perhaps mutters, is it a joke? What's that noise? Exactly. The stream's not rising. The thought of laying completely submerged in water is every caveman's worst dread. Nevertheless, now, anyone can hear it. The draft whistles like a storm, and the water is clearly and sickeningly rushing. As far as anyone is aware, nobody else has ever tried it. The entire Mossdale Caverns are submerged. Even so, they remain calm. Amidst a sea of adventure tales that depicted daring escapes and triumphant returns, Mossdale stood out like a jagged cliff face, a true outlier in the world of pupil-written narratives. While other stories glorified the thrill of exploration and the rush of adrenaline, Mossdale painted a picture of horror and tragedy that left readers stunned and shaken. And yet, despite the mounting tension and palpable sense of impending doom, the cavers pressed on, driven by a combination of curiosity, greed, and sheer stubbornness. As they reached the heart of the cave, they found what they had been searching for, a glittering hoard of precious stones and ancient artifacts. But their triumph was short-lived, as a sudden deluge of water flooded the cavern, trapping them in a watery tomb. The rest of the story was a harrowing tale of survival and sacrifice, as the cavers struggled to stay alive in the face of impossible odds. Some perished in the flood, their bodies swept away by merciless current. Others clung to life by a thread, battling hypothermia, exhaustion, and desperation. And in the end, only a handful emerged alive, scarred and haunted by the horrors they had witnessed. It was a story that defied the conventions of the genre, refusing to sugarcoat or romanticize the dangers of exploration. And yet, despite its grim subject matter, Mossdale's tale was a triumph of storytelling, a gripping, unforgettable saga that left a deep impression on all who got to know about it. For those who dared to venture into the dark depths of the cave, there would be no happy endings, no miraculous escapes. But for those who stayed behind, safe and sound, the tale of Mossdale's caverns would live on as a warning, a reminder of the perils that lurked in the unknown and the terrible price that could be paid for the lure of adventure. Perched on the windswept Cornerstone Moor, a rugged and wild terrain looms the weathered Mossdale Scar, a towering limestone outcrop that commands attention with its sheer size and imposing presence. But what truly sets this natural wonder apart is the Mossdale Beck, a forceful stream that cascades down the rocky face, disappearing into the gaping maw of the cave beneath. As if possessed by an otherworldly spirit, the Scar seems to exude a sense of foreboding, even amid bright sunshine. Perhaps it's the starkness of its surroundings or the rarity of visitors that adds to the eerie atmosphere. Regardless, it's easy to see why many people believe this place to be haunted, shrouded in mystery and secrecy. The relentless winds that whip across the barren moorland, coupled with the stony silence of the Scar and the trickling sound of the stream, create a palpable sense of unease. Some claim to have heard whispers on the breeze, or glimpsed ghostly apparitions flitting through the shadows. Others warn that venturing too close to the Scar's base may invite danger and misfortune. They are one of the best caverns in the nation. They can't possibly experience it. Their prone bodies are a few inches over the roof. Even though they all know there is nowhere to go, they all naturally crawl faster. Some are still in their teens, while the oldest is only 26. The paradise of sunshine and clean air has suddenly grown incredibly far. Every caveman's worst dread is coming true for them, as they are now united by fear that will take place shortly. Their grave will be in the cave. The harrowing tale of the 6 intrepid young men who ventured into the heart of Yorkshire's Mossdale caverns and never emerged is one that has etched itself into the annals of history as one of the most tragic and devastating cave catastrophes of all time. These were no ordinary men, but 6 daring souls who were determined to conquer the most challenging cave in all of Britain, a cave so formidable that it was classified as super severe and held a reputation for being virtually unconquerable. The Mossdale caverns, with their treacherous twists and turns, unforgiving crevices, and dark, menacing depths, represented the ultimate test of human endurance and bravery. It was a place where the limits of human spirit were pushed to their absolute breaking point, and only the bravest and most skilled cavers dared to venture forth. Despite their considerable experience and expertise, the 6 men were no match for the sheer ferocity and unpredictability of the caverns. The caverns, with their icy waters and jagged rock formations, proved to be a formidable foe that the men could not overcome. In the end, they were swallowed whole by the unforgiving depths of the caverns, their dreams and aspirations extinguished forever. Today, the Mossdale caverns remain a somber reminder of the limits of human endurance and the dangers that lie hidden in the natural world. Fewer people have visited its extreme reaches than have walked on the moon, a testament to its formidable reputation and the incredible challenge that it represents. But for those who dare to venture forth, it remains a symbol of the indomitable human spirit and the unquenchable thirst for adventure that drives us all. The world watched in disbelief as yet another catastrophe unfolded, with British citizens shaking their heads in dismay. But amidst the chaos, a group of daring adventurers quietly pushed the limits of human exploration. Venturing into the unknown depths beneath the surface of their homeland, these courageous souls hailed from humble working-class backgrounds, fueled by a burning passion to challenge themselves and uncover the mysteries hidden below. Theirs was a quest born out of a thirst for adventure, one that required little more than sheer determination and a willingness to face danger head-on. While the rest of the world was caught up in the hedonistic fervour of the swinging 60s, these brave cavers remained focused on their underground mission. And in a world where every inch of the planet's surface had been mapped, they found solace in the knowledge that there was still so much left to discover just beneath their feet. Unlike mountaineers who conquered peaks in full view of the public eye, these cavers toiled away in secret, their trials and tribulations largely unnoticed by the world at large. They were driven by a passion that burned brightly within them, and nothing could deter them from their goal. Only when disaster struck and tragedy befell them did they make headlines, a stark reminder of the risks they took and the dangers they faced. Despite the risks, the allure of the unknown proved too powerful to resist, and these brave souls continued to venture into the depths, exploring uncharted worlds and pushing the boundaries of human endurance. For them, there was no greater thrill than the rush of adrenaline that came from delving into the unknown, driven by a passion that burned bright within their hearts. Imagine standing at the mouth of the caverns, the cool air washing over you, the sound of water dripping echoing into the distance. As you peer inside, you'll be greeted with a breathtaking sight that defies all expectations. The two caves stretch out before you, an anomaly in the geological landscape that is both fascinating and bewildering. How could such an enormous cave exist in this part of the world? And yet, here they are, waiting to be explored. But the journey inside the caverns is not for the faint-hearted. The accessible channels wind for almost 7 miles through shallow beds of Mossdale limestone, which rise and fall, twist and turn, creating a labyrinthine network that can leave you feeling lost and disorientated. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself crawling on your belly through passages that are only inches high, your heart pounding in your chest as you try to find your way out. But the true mystery of the caverns lies in what lies beyond. The majority of the stream that enters the cave is blocked off by impassable rocks near the entrance, creating a barrier that few have ever been able to breach. And yet, the stream resurfaces 5 miles further, 18 days later and 900 feet lower at a pool near the river wharf called Black Keld. It's a puzzle that has stumped scientists and adventurers alike, for one of Britain's longest and deepest caves is rumoured to be located between the two places but has never been discovered. The search for this missing link has become an obsession for some, with explorers spending years delving deep into the caverns, hoping to uncover the secrets that lie within. So, if you're feeling brave enough, step inside the caverns and embark on a journey that will take you to the very limits of human experience. Who knows what mysteries you'll uncover and what wonders you'll find in the darkness. And that's been it. We hope that you found our videos informative and thought-provoking. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from us. And remember, disasters can happen to anyone, but by coming together and sharing knowledge, we can build a safer and more resilient future. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.